Alright, well, I'm out getting some footage for my next video. I decided I would try this again. I know I just did this with the Sister's Brother video that I released where I just sat on my deck and talked. Let's get started. This, what I will say is this is book 2 of a series. And if you haven't seen the video I just released before this, A Change in the Wind, I believe is the name. I don't have my notes for the name of the book, so I can't verify that that's the name of it for sure. But that is book 1 in this 2-book series. So yeah, if you haven't watched that video, go ahead and take a look at that one before you watch this one. But all right, let's get started. The name of this book is Eye of the Storm. And like I said, it's the second and final book in the Hanika Vienta series by Nikki Mellado. And you probably already know this as well already, but Nikki is a fellow booktuber as well. This book was released in 2021, and it is a Christian mystery. So in this one, we still have our two main characters, Hanika and Cameron. We pick up in this book where they left off in the last book. That's all I'm going to say there. I don't want to spoil anything from book 1. We are introduced to another character, a main character in this, Celia, I believe is how you say her name. That's how I've been calling her. So for this point on, it's Celia. If it's wrong, I apologize. But she is a new character and is one of Hanika's good friends at this point. And like I said, she becomes a big part of this story as it unfolds. Basically, in this story, there is a murder of someone who's a bit sketchy. And basically, there's plenty of people that would probably be guilty. I should say probably wouldn't mind doing the killing. So, again, I don't really want to get into too much. I was going to say something earlier, but it would have given away some of the story. So basically, we have a character who's been murdered, and there are plenty of people who may have done it. That's all I'm going to say. So I am finding it difficult to talk about the book because of how intertwined all these characters are, and this being a second book in a series. So there's some things I don't want to say to ruin the first book, and then there's some things I don't want to say I don't want to say to ruin the second book. So it's probably not going to be a real great what's this book about type review thoughts. But let me just say what the gist. The gist of it is that we have Hanika, who is a private investigator. There is a murder, so she's going to use her skills to try and solve this murder. And it's pretty important that she does solve this murder mystery. Again, I can't tell you why, or else it'll ruin the book. But let's just say she does need to try and figure out who killed this guy. Hanika is trying to solve this murder. We have a lot of interaction with her and Celia, her and her employees at the coffee shop, and there is some interaction with the chief of police as well. And obviously there's some stuff going on between her. There's some interaction between her and Cameron still. And that's basically what the book is about. It's her trying to solve this murder with the added stress of something that's going on with Cameron. And again, I can't say what that is, but there's something strange going on with Cameron. So, and I'm going to say it's quite odd. It's quite disturbing. So she's going to try and solve a murder while dealing with these issues as well. So she's got a lot on her plate right now. So that would be the basic gist of the book. What I do want to say, I don't want to go too much into the book because, again, like I've said already a couple times, I don't want to ruin it. So I'll just get into my thoughts. And what I just wanted to share with you guys as well as Nikki is I thought her first book was good. And it felt like a typical independent type author book. You could definitely tell that it was like maybe their first book. And as you guys already know, I appreciate that. I kind of enjoy that So I don't know how the rest of the world would see something like that, but I don't mind that kind of stuff. But book one definitely had that feel. What I can say about book two is I don't know what happened and how she matured from one book to the next so quickly, because this book maybe had a little bit of that feel, but I really don't think so, man. This felt like a legitimate. You couldn't tell that it was independently written. What I will say is, with this book, um, I was on the edge of my seat with two aspects. You had the murder aspect, um, which honestly, while I was reading this, I was conversing back and forth with Nikki, and I took a guess. I took a swing who I thought it was, and yeah, it kept me on the edge of my seat. I wanted to keep reading because I was like, all right, who is the killer? I need to know kind of that aspect. And then I think honestly, what was really more intriguing to me is like what was happening with Cameron. Because if you read this and you get to a certain point in this book that, again, I can't talk about, but you're just sitting there going, what? Seriously? How did this just happen? Like how? I want to say what it is so bad because it's so good, but I'm not going to ruin it for everybody. I guess that's a teaser to go and get this book. But I'll talk to you about it later, Nikki, because I thought it was, I just loved it. Yeah, I'm just checking my notes here as cars are going by, but I would say when I was reading this, that it was those two main reasons that there was one night where it was really deep in both of these issues, and I just was trying to get through it. I was trying to power through because I really wanted to know, but I ended up having to give in to sleep. So the good news is, unlike some of the other books, I wasn't falling asleep, even though I was extremely tired. I think that Stephen King, what was that one, the Dark Tower series, where I kept falling asleep. But no, yeah, I ended up having to stop, and I ended up finishing it the next day. But from a storytelling standpoint, I thought this book was really good. I thought it was really good. From the other aspect, which I actually think is, in my opinion, because I'm a Christian, was even better, was the Christian aspect of the book. So when I was reading this, I will spoil this a little bit, and I don't know how much of a spoiler this will be, but there's a lot of praying. And when I was reading it, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, man, these people are praying a lot. They're praying for everything. The main characters pray a lot, and I'm like, huh, what does that say about me? So I started like having some inner thoughts, and I'm like, yeah, the Bible does say. I actually I had to look it up because I don't know where it was, but I do know that it's 1 Thessalonians 5:17, and it says that we are to pray without ceasing. I actually have a bookmarker that says that. I guess I probably should have known which book and verse that was, but I'm rambling, sorry. But yeah, it started to make me realize, like, yeah, we're supposed to, as Christians, pray a lot. I do think I think about God a lot, but I don't know that I actually sit and pray about a lot of stuff. So it actually motivated me later in the week when I was thinking about this. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to, on top of the fact I put on a ton of weight lately, I haven't been doing quite as much walking, and I've been doing a lot of eating. And I was like, I'm going to fast. And with this fast from food, I am going to pray. I'm going to say something every single time I think of food. And let's just say God heard from me quite a bit within a 36-hour period. So yeah, I will say, Nikki, you managed to I don't know, you managed to open my eyes to. So anyway, my camera stopped recording, so we're gonna pick it up here. In the first book, my critique was that I felt like some of the stuff was rushed to a conclusion. I would say in this book, maybe, but I really don't think so. I really don't see where. I think there's a turtle over here. I really don't have any critiques, to be honest with you. I don't know, Nikki. I really can't help you. I think you did a good job. And let me just finish this up because I feel like this is going way too long. And this was in the book, so it's not gonna be a spoiler, but I'm gonna read from it. It's I'll read what I have. It's Celia is at church, and the pastor is talking about a certain topic, and Celia is wondering if the pastor has somehow gotten a hold of her journal. And then in the book, this is what it says: it seems he was speaking directly to her. So I had to chuckle at that because there's been several times when you go to church and the sermon, you're just like, wow, this is exactly what I was thinking about today, or yesterday or whatnot. But the one time that this really hit me big was I was going through a period where I just didn't really want to go to church. I was like, it's Sunday, I got lawn to mow, I've got all these things, all these excuses I want to make to not go to church. And but I know that it's really what I should be doing. So that whole week I was hemming and hawing about that, and then I was questioning something the entire week. Well, don't you know I go to church, and the sermon is everything in the sermon on that day that I show up was answering the question that I had for that whole week. So I was like, okay, I get it, God. This is why we come to church. This is one of the avenues that God will use to talk to us. The Bible is another one. So we should be reading our Bibles as often as we can. We should be going to church as often as we can. It's just an avenue for God to talk to you. I know for people who are not believers are probably thinking I'm nuts, but that day I literally got emotional 3 different times during that sermon, just because. Well, besides the wind, I'm actually starting to get a little emotional about it now. But yeah, it's just amazing. So yeah, I did enjoy that part of the book. It made me chuckle because there are plenty of times when you're just like, she thinking that he got a hold of her journal. So perfect. All right, so Nikki, I'm breaking out of my zone here. I did have a 5 read this week. You didn't make the 5, but you got out of the 3 and the 3.5. So I'm giving this one a 4 out of 5. I'm highly recommending this to anybody, honestly. Definitely Christians, but even non-believers, I think you would enjoy this book. Again, I think this one is a much better book than the first one. I don't mean that in a bad way, but I mean that in a positive way. Like the writing is just starting to question if you wrote both books, Nikki, now that I think about it. All right. Anyway, I know she's in the process of writing us. I'm going to wrap this up, so I'm going to start getting up. I know she's in the process of writing a science fiction. So hurry up. Let's get that thing done so I can read that one and review that. But well done, Nikki. Thank you for this. And if anybody has made it this far, and if anybody is interested, get a hold of Nikki at Writing for Jesus, and she will be more than happy to help you out in that area. All right, so we are gonna wrap this up. I appreciate everybody that made it this far, and I appreciate you, Nikki, and everybody have a good day. All right, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye bye.